Everyone. Hello. Welcome to our Sunday gathering, our continued gathering for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's and her legacy. And we really appreciate you guys being here with us. We have some new folks on. I need to do a better job of figuring out how to manage YouTube because it seems like there's a lot more people watching on YouTube than there is on Facebook these days, which is pretty cool. But so you YouTubers who are watching, find a better way to interact with you guys. But we'll do our best. So if you guys want to comment, we can put you up on the screen and you can interact with us in that way. Really excited today to have Peggy Oki with us, who we'll get to in just a minute. But Peggy, I just want to say thank you right off the bat because I know you had to drive quite a ways to get service in your car somewhere on the side of the road. And where are you? New Zealand? New Zealand?
Yeah.
Okay. Just to be with us today. So thank you, Peggy. We're really happy to have you with us.
Thank you for inviting me, Annette.
Awesome. It's been too long. Let's do some quick check-ins. Deb Cruz, how are you? We missed you last couple of weeks. All right.
Back in the saddle.
Good. Cool. Casey and Stephanie, you guys cold?
Yes.
Cold in Minnesota. Yeah, and I've been out in the woods all day, so I'm kind of chilly. But happy to be here and happy to hear what Peggy has to say. So happy Sunday to all.
Me too. Thank you. Deborah, how's it going?
I'm good. Holding that light of hope. Never giving up hope. Love you guys.
Thanks for holding that light because sometimes I struggle to find it, which I think a lot of people do at times. Christina, how are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. Happy to see what Peggy's up to and talk to some people about our movement. And happy Sunday. Yep.
Awesome. Howard, speaking of light.
Good afternoon. It's a beautiful, gray, rainy day here in the Pacific Northwest. And I'm looking forward to hearing from Peggy. And hi, Peggy. Been a long time. And about the dams and whatever else we can stir up. Looking forward.
We will be stirring some things up. Alma, how are you?
Hi, great. Good to be here with all of you lovely people from all parts of the world, all of us with the same intentions in our hearts and minds, and all for one good goal. So great to be here. Happy Sunday.
Thanks, Alma. And I should have put a little square there with Alejandro's beautiful face on it. He is not with us today. He had a mandatory meeting, and we all know that it had to be something mandatory for Alejandro to miss. This is the first TokiTV he has ever had to miss. But don't be surprised if he hurries through his meeting and jumps on at the end. So, Alejandro, we hope you are able to hop on. Peggy Oki. Gosh, I mean, I could try to introduce you, but I know I'm not going to cover everything. Just so you know, Peggy, the audience has shifted and grown, and there are so many people on who may not know who you are and what you're up to. So do you mind to give us a little intro of your background and all your years of advocacy, and then we can get into the recent stuff?
Oh, that sounds great. Thanks, Annette. So I am a longtime surfer of just about 50 years, and it was through my experiences and learning more and more about dolphins that I became inspired to be a voice for them. And the first action that I learned about as an activist was the dolphin bycatch with the tuna industry, and which led to the dolphin safe labeling. And in reality, it's not really that safe for the dolphins. So that was the beginning. And then ultimately by 2004, I founded the Origami Whales Project to raise awareness about commercial whaling. And what I love about the Origami Whales Project is that I reach out and educate youth. Hope you can hear me okay. Educate youth about what's happening out there to the whales, and then I invite them to participate. So I just really love empowering youth because they have such big hearts and they really want to do something. And so when you give them something that they can do, like write letters, do paintings, create messages that will go to decision makers, I really think that's a powerful thing to offer. And I also did this Origami Whales campaign that started in 2004 with 1,400 origami whales, which ultimately became a curtain. And since then it's expanded, and I've made other different curtains with the help of volunteers. Last year, working with the Smithsonian at their Folklife Festival, I was invited to bring my Origami Whales project there, but I started thinking about what, after all these years, I could do with the Origami Whales project. And one idea was to raise awareness about bycatch and entanglement. And this next photo here is of an installation that I started working on last year here in February. And it's called Entanglement of Maui. And I created this frame with PVC pipe, and actually somebody made it for me. And then I got a used fishing net. And this is based on what I did with the Smithsonian in 2022. And I went to schools and the library and got people to participate in folding origami Maui dolphins, and I made a mosaic, as you can see, and that's the shape of a Maui dolphin, which is the world's smallest dolphin. So there's kind of, I guess, an irony in that I have campaigned for the endangered Maui dolphins for about close to 20 years now. And they're also the second most endangered dolphin in the world. There's now only about 48. When I started campaigning for them, there was 111. And the primary cause of their death is bycatch entanglement in gill nets in New Zealand. They're found only in New Zealand. Maui is a subspecies of the Hector's dolphin, and the Hector's dolphin is also listed endangered. The cause of death to them, also the primary cause of death, is entanglement in gill nets. And unfortunately, though people think that New Zealand is green and environmental and all that, it's green in color. But the government has really lagged on taking sufficient measures to protect these dolphins from dying in these gill nets. And so there's a photo that I'm not sure if it'll come up completely, but at the bottom of it, there's part of the installation where I had it. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And I had various examples of fishing net that were recovered from the beach cleanups and things, and then some gill net to show people how invisible it is. You know, like underwater, you just can't see it. I think that most people, hopefully in the audience, know how gill nets are so destructive and terrible. And then the next photo that I sent is my artist statement that went with this installation, along with informational signs about the various threats of bycatch and entanglement. And I'm going to put it out there. Would anybody in the audience or in our group here like to guess how many whales and dolphins drown and die every year from bycatch or entanglement? So I'll explain quickly. Bycatch is when fishing industry, boats, vessels, they're out there with nets and they're looking for a target species, for example, maybe cod or something. And in the course of trawling with these nets, they catch anything in its path, especially these super trawlers. And the things in that path is pretty much everything. And so that's bycatch. And what they'll do is they'll sort out, they'll end up picking out all the things they didn't want to catch and throw it overboard. And they're usually dead or dying by then. And then the entanglement is primarily in gear that has gotten away, and over 50%, I've heard up to 80% of the plastic pollution in the ocean comes from fishing gear, fishing nets and ropes and lines and all that. So it's a serious, massive problem. And I'd like to ask, does anybody have any idea what the International Whaling Commission Scientific Committee stated as a number of whales and dolphins that die annually every year? Anybody take a
Let's
guess?
go, guys. Put it in the comments if you're watching. Your guess. Give people a few minutes and see if we get
Okay.
anyone brave enough to guess.
Okay, so maybe Annette, would you mind? I can't see the comments, so maybe
Someone
you could.
said 500.
Okay.
Someone else said no clue. Someone said 20,000.
Okay.
Let's see.
Well,
Thousands.
okay. So the International Whaling Commission has some of the top scientists in the world involved doing their research on cetaceans, and the scientific committee stated that over 308,000 whales and dolphins every year die of bycatch entanglement. It's a staggering number that nobody, I mean, it's just like, woo, really? 308,000 a year. It's like the biggest killer out there of not only whales and dolphins, but sharks by the millions, hundreds of thousands of seabirds, including albatross, sea turtles, about at least 250,000 sea turtles a year, seals and sea lions. It's just really, and then I can't remember exactly how much. They do it in pounds, like millions of pounds of fish that were non-target species. So it's a highly destructive industry, and I was focused mainly on the whaling issue and helping the Maui dolphins of New Zealand. Excuse me. And with this project with the Smithsonian in 2022, I decided that I was going to do something more about bycatch entanglement. So that's what inspired me to do this one entanglement of Maui last year. And I've been a volunteer art actions coordinator for Maui Dolphin Day locally here in Raglan for, gosh, I volunteered for about 15 years or more worth of Maui Dolphin Days. Because of COVID, we didn't have Maui Dolphin Day for a few years, like the real one. But this year, it's going to happen. So it's really great to get the people really engaged. And I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do, but I will display the entanglement of Maui to raise more awareness about that. And another thing that I'd like to share, that I had a really great time in July attending SuperPod, and I was hoping to see some of you there,
I know,
but I did not. So I gave a presentation. I saw Howie, and Howie gave a presentation also.
Yeah.
And it was a real honor to talk about art as activism for cetaceans. And I presented about the Smithsonian trip for that was like 2 weeks in Washington, D.C., working on that during the Folklife Festival. And SuperPod, as usual, just, I call it the Orca Nerd Conference in a very fond way, because people who are just so knowledgeable, their lives are orcas, they're there. And then some people, I heard the phrase orca dork when I was there, which is very cute also. So it's just all this orca love energy. So it was wonderful to be there for that. And Jim Waddell spoke from damsense.org. And, he just could not reiterate how serious this dam breaching issue is. And he said that looking at the climate of things and how, okay, there was the comment period that I'm sure most of the viewers have learned about, as far as commenting to the Biden administration, and the deadline was till July 1st, and then they got extended to August 31st. And then we know the result, which is not immediate breaching of the dam. And so Jim's probably highly disappointed by that. And he, that was just the biggest takeaway from the event, from SuperPod. There were a lot of presenters and scientists talking about different things. It was so fantastic learning even more about the southern resident orcas, and then people, working like in Russia, Oksana Fedorova, who was very involved in the freeing of those captive orcas and belugas in Russia a few years ago, and such. And So that was a big thing, and I've posted quite a few times. I've been collaborating, and we have I guess you could say we're in our infancy, cetaceans.org, and with the help of people like Madison O'Connell and Katie Rose, we were posting fairly regularly, and we have a page for the southern resident orcas, and the primary focus is about the dams and getting those 4 lower Snake River dams breached. And we have we provided sample information and comments that people could use as outlines for the content to send to the Biden administration. And we will be, keeping up on that. And if anyone wants to reach out to me, like Christina or Deborah or whoever who's really working on this a lot, and provide any action updates, please do. So that we can update our page and direct people to that as well. And I just want to really applaud Christina's passion, her passion and drive, and all that she's been doing with the postcards and everything. And we can't give up. It's just, we're just going to keep going. And so that's what I got from SuperPod. And also in the summer around May, I got some interesting news that the mast minister, she's kind of like the Iceland's version of the USDA. She's the head, and she decided that she was going to put a temporary ban on suspension on Icelandic whaling. And what's been going on in more recent years is this one last whaler who does not need to do this for money. He's a multi-millionaire billionaire, one of the wealthiest people in the country, but he's so bent on killing whales. And supposedly, from what I got from being there in Iceland, he's doing it because his dad did it. It's like, come on, mister, wake up. And so the fin whale, can we get the next slide, please?
Let me see which one. I'm not quite in order. I apologize for that.
Oh, okay.
When it uploads, all kind of stuff.
It's a watercolor painting that I did of a fin whale.
Okay, give me a minute to get that one up.
Okay.
But you could talk about it.
Okay, so the fin whale is the second largest whale on the planet. We know that a blue whale is really big, like massive. Well, the fin whale is not that much smaller. They grow about up to 80 feet in length on average. They are baleen whale. I think they're beautiful. The markings. I learned when I showed my painting to somebody in Iceland that their baleen actually has 2 colors. Well, white and black, basically, because it has something to do with the way that they hunt for their krill. So kind of cool. And they are, as we've been learning, that the large whales like blue whales and fin whales, sei whales, all these large whales have a very important role in sequestering carbon and being a part of the whole ecological balance in the ocean, healthy seas, distributing nutrients. And so they're very important in the sense of ecologically, besides the fact that they're incredible beings. They're so massive and cool. And how we love, I think I love all cetaceans. I think they're all cool, of course. And so I did that painting and proceeded from there also to start on the next slide, please. It's a 3 photo sort of collage like image of me with a young student from the paddle sports group in Santa Barbara. A friend of mine is a marine education instructor, and so we worked together, and I did a class visit and talked about fin whales and how cool they are, and told them about Icelandic whaling, and asked if they would like to fold origami fin whales. And since they are, such a large whale, we made larger origami whales. And they did their art on it, and they wrote letters, and I started putting that together, and building momentum, got more and more people to fold and send origami fin whales to me. And next slide, please.
Which is the next one?
It's got a very blue, dark blue background, and it's a whale fluke with all these colorful.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's like literally I came back from Superpod and being, up in the Pacific Northwest and having a nice trip up there. And 2.5 days later, I left for Iceland with these 2.5 curtains of 161 origami fin whales that my friends came over and helped stitch. And we stitched these together, and I put them in my luggage piece and off to Iceland for the Whale Gala in Reykjavik, the capital of Iceland, at the Whales of Iceland Museum, which is really a cool museum. If anybody goes to Iceland, I recommend visiting the Whales of Iceland Museum. They have life-size replicas of every species of cetaceans that are found around the Icelandic waters. So it's pretty neat to be around such big cetacean models and such. And that Whale Gala event was really big. It was attended by over 1,000 people. They had whale art, they had film screenings and live music, and it was a great event, a great gathering. And I offered origami fin whales for people to write messages on. So all total, I was able to finish this half curtain, had 3 curtains of 161 origami fin whales with messages written from over a dozen countries. And somebody that I'd met at Superpod, Simon Howard, do you remember his name? He was the film maker from the UK.
Simon is so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
what's his last name?
I'm not gonna get it right.
At least you remember his first name. So Simon shared with his daughter, and she got her youth group in the UK to fold and send over 100 origami fin whales to me.
That is cool.
Yeah, so those were part of this trip, and ultimately by the 4th day. So that night at the Whale Gala, it was like, this positive energy and all this good stuff going on, and great to see that many people. And then I got a WhatsApp message from a good friend. I call her Shelly. Her real name is Michelle. And she's helped me out a lot with my my campaigning for TokiTV. And she said, "Did Lolita die?" And I went, "What?" And so it was about 10 o'clock at night in Iceland when I got that message at the event. And it just really, I think it hit all of us so hard. We, all of us had so much hope, and everything was going in the right direction. It was like so close. So it was really hard, and I tried to keep, a positive, happy face at the event. But it was just, yeah. So I kept working. I had 4 days total in Iceland. My first day was the Whale Gala, and I finished stitching the strands of origami fin whales to make the 3rd curtain complete. And on the 4th day, these great new friends, these activists on the ground in Iceland who are so passionate about saving these fin whales, we got together. One of them picked us up and drove us around, and we started going to the 3 government offices of some key decision makers with these curtains of origami fin whales. I'd already made appointments, contacted them and said, "Hey, can I deliver you a gift?" And so we made these deliveries and met briefly with the assistants to these different decision makers. The first person was Svandi Svartstatir, who is the mast minister who I mentioned at the beginning, who put the temporary suspension on whaling, and basically suspended the commercial whaling in Iceland for about 2 months. She really would put a big dent on Mr. Evil. I call him Mr. Evil. Going out there and killing whales. So definitely a thank you gift to her for doing that. And, of course, with cover letter and all that. And then the Minister of the Environment was the second office that we visited. And then the third one was at the Pirate Party office. So there's I think there's 11 parties of parliament in Iceland, and one of them is the Pirate Party. And I found out early on, when this whole thing started going on in late May, that the Pirate Party has been very vocal about ending whaling in Iceland. So I call them the good pirates for the whales. And so it was wonderful to meet with one of the representatives, and she was very welcoming. And we can, if you want to show the next photo, and we sat with her and met with her for at least 45 minutes. And one of the questions that I asked her, that I figured she would be the person to know for sure, and said, tell me one way or the other, how do we permanently end commercial whaling? Because Svandis Svarstatir in the mast ministry, she can put a suspension. She's in charge of the permits, but just like the USDA, when administrations change, sometimes those people, their jobs are replaced by somebody else in a new government. So I'd heard from a couple of sources, and this wonderful woman, Halldóra Mogensen, confirmed that the only way to permanently end whaling is to make it a law to ban whaling. And so it's like, okay, let's do this. Let's see that happen. And are you able to find the next photo?
Is it the one of the two of you?
Yep.
Yeah, it's loading. Give it 1 second. I'm sorry.
Great. Okay. Yeah. So it was really cool, because when I brought that curtain in, she was looking at it. She really liked it. And she goes, do I get to keep this? And I said, yes.
Oh, there it is.
And so,
nice.
Yeah. And thank you. And so, and the next day on Instagram, Svandis Svarstatir, the mast minister, posted photos of her curtain in the window of her office on Instagram. So it was like, oh, she liked it. And then later, Halldóra posted a photo that got in the Icelandic newspaper of her and one of the other Pirate Party members holding up the curtain, announcing officially that they have proposed a law to ban whaling permanently in Iceland. And so there's been a number of actions, including this very last minute action that I posted for people to send emails to the parliament, because they were actually accepting comments from anybody across the world. And so keeping in touch with the head of the Pirate Party, I said, how did it go? And he said that they got something like 3,500 emails. So that is fantastic. And I just hope that will have enough power and influence over the parliamentary committee, because it is a highly politicized issue, as we know with dam breaching. These things sometimes are just so deeply ingrained. And yeah. So let's keep good thoughts. I'm going to ask everyone, please keep good thoughts that this law passes this year. Onward, please, to the next image.
Can I ask you real quick? I want to ask you real quick. So the temporary ban was for how long?
The temporary ban was from the beginning of June till the end of August. And unfortunately, as I was saying, this political pressure, she didn't really admit it, but I think that she was threatened politically, because she's a member of the Green Party. And it's, as far as looking at the parliament members, their positions on whaling versus being against whaling, it was actually slightly over half in favor of whaling. And so I think that she got a lot of pressure, that she just needed to let him go back and do his thing. And he managed to, with his whaling fleet with 2 ships, get 25 fin whales. Most of them were female. Yeah. And the videos that were taken the previous year for monitoring the whaling activity proved how cruel. Literally, something like 40% of the whales took 20 minutes to die, and one whale took 2 hours to die. And so a lot of, grim details. And, we can go, oh, Iceland sucks, blah, 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 blah. But on the brighter side of it, at least they have laws for humane slaughter. And it was because of that she was able to put that suspension on as she did. And let's just hope that she will, again, put a suspension on his permit. But more so, let's hope that law passes. And if anything else comes up, I will of course post that on my Origami Whales project page.
Thank you, Peggy. And I also, just because I'm trying to keep up with the people's comments, someone wanted to be able to quote, and I'm backtracking a little bit, on the 308,000 whales and dolphins that die every year from entanglement. Where is that information from? Is that from the International Whaling Commission? Or
yes, International Whaling Commission Scientific Committee. So if somebody did a quick search, those would be the keywords, and then bycatch entanglement. And you probably wouldn't even have to say scientific committee, but it's on their page, scientific committee page. And I also like to make a little push right now, a little promotion for a search engine that I like to use. It's called Ecosia. It's ECOSIA.org. And I've been using it for 3.5 years. And it's a great search engine. They plant trees for every search that somebody makes. And cool. They've planted, they've planted like getting close to 200 million trees while they've been in operation. Also, there's energy that's required for search engines. And so they are more than carbon neutral. They power their search engines using sustainable, renewable energy. So I like to give them a good promotion. And what they do is they work with other organizations across the world that are doing tree planting projects, and they provide funding to them.
That's really, I had never heard of them. So thank you.
Yeah, Ecosia.
Yeah, that's awesome. I have that up on the screen for people to see. And all the photos like completely got mixed up. But if we can get back on track now, if you want to tell me which photo you're hoping for me.
The next one is a screenshot from one of the newsletters, and it's TokiTV. A photo of her. I'm not sure who took that photo. It might have been Jill Hine. Do you see the photo of TokiTV?
Yes.
Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's.
I think I did the whole, let's see. This one?
There, yep. So, it was really a hard time. I felt like, just mourning for TokiTV, just grieving. And I finally did have to come out with some kind of statement about her passing, her sudden death, and just tried to keep it really, brief. So I did that in the newsletter. This was back in late August, early September. And I like to call her Beautiful Lady Shining Waters from one of the interpretations that I could have swore I saw that Dr. What was the name of the doctor who was in charge of the veterinarian?
Jesse White.
Dr. Jesse White.
Doctor who treated her so well and had such high respect for her.
Yeah.
He set the tone for many years, but that finally sort of ended. But he, I think, took really good care of her and showed her the kind of love and respect that she deserved. And I think that really helped her for many, many years.
Yeah.
Jesse White.
White. Yeah.
He really cared. He's the one who named her TokiTV in the spirit of the Northwest, of the indigenous people that live here. He wanted her to have that name. They changed it, of course, but he wanted her to have that. And he's the one who said right off the bat, he saw that in her, that she was so courageous and yet so gentle. And that is just so true, for her entire life.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a good man.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that, Howard, and for all of your decades of working for Tokita's freedom.
Well, thank you. And
Yeah,
I
and
was going to
everybody
show
else
you,
here who's worked for Tokita's
see,
freedom, including Christina, who helped me with art letters for Lolita. We got a lot of letters.
yeah. There in
Yeah.
the doorway, it's hard to see. It's very tiny on my screen, but it's a sort of a beautiful creation that you sent us there. You can see it in the doorway hanging under the
Oh, the
building.
origami orcas.
Yes, it is. Uh, and you sent that to me years ago, and it's been hanging there in the doorway. We walk under it about 50 times a day.
Oh, I
That's
think I gave that to you at the Miracle March for Lolita.
I think so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at that event. Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that
got
was
to
good.
actually meet you for the first time there.
Yes. Well, thank you for
Yes.
that gift. It keeps
Yeah,
on
well,
giving.
thank you. Thank you, Howard, for all that you've been doing. Just yeah.
one of the things that's been just I know I was going back through our messages, Peggy, and I think it was like August 20th that you and I were talking, for the first time after hearing about Toki's passing, and just all, we talk about this web of life, and this web like that connects all of us, and she, just connected you to so many folks. But if you don't mind sharing with people before we move on to the next action steps, because I want to show that picture that you sent with that cloud above that building there. That's gorgeous.
Mm-hmm.
But when did you first hear, because you did so much for her and were involved in and leading so many campaigns for Toki. Do you mind to just share with folks, when did you become aware of her, and we don't have to go through all of it, but just, when she, because one of the things that we're talking about doing is having people come on and share with us their interaction, or how they were first introduced to or called into the love of Toki.
Sure. So about 18, 19 years ago, I started being involved with the Maui Dolphins, and then kicked off a campaign roughly 15 years ago called Let's Face It Visual Petitions. And so I was very, very devoted with my time to helping these Maui dolphins. Again, the world's smallest dolphin. They look like mini orcas because they've got the rounded pectoral fins. They do have the rounded dorsal fin like a Mickey Mouse ear, but they do have the rounded pectoral fins. It's like not many cetaceans have that cool rounded pectoral fin like the orcas do. But so I couldn't really take on anything else, because I was also working the day job and all these things. And I became aware of Tokite probably maybe 15, 17 years ago, sometime around then. But I was so, having to focus on working and the campaigning for the Maui Dolphins, and I couldn't really do much. I did post a little bit about her on Facebook, and it just like every time I saw something, a photo of her, or it just would be so heartbreaking to see her in that tiny tank. And it was roughly about 11 when was the Miracle March for Lolita? Howie,
I'm
do you remember
thinking
the first one?
2017. I'm thinking. I could be
Oh,
off.
I think it was before that,
Was it?
because that
Huh.
was only 6 years ago. I think it was anyways, it was
2016, I think, friends. And
for the
then
first
I
one.
think it was 2016.
Okay.
Okay, well, it was before that I actually met Howard online, and things were kind of easing up with the Let's Face It campaign, and so I decided I have a little bit more time now. I'm going to do something, and I came up with the idea of a video campaign called Christmas for Lolita, and I contacted Howie and posted on social media and said, "Hey, everybody, send a short video under 2 minutes of you reading or asking Santa, what your Christmas wish is, and hopefully that will be for Arthur Hertz to let Lolita Go Home. And so Howie participated. He got some other friends to participate. Lots of people sent in videos. I got somebody to edit, and we produced Christmas for Lolita video with Santa Claus and various persons playing Santa Claus, and just, yeah. And Zaka Folter was involved in sharing some footage and some editing. And so that was the first campaign. And then I think it was soon after that there was the Miracle March for Lolita, like maybe the following year or so, when there was the march, and I brought Valentines for Lolita. So I had these forum Valentines that people could hand write letters in and ask Fernando Iroa, who became the new owner of the Miami Seaquarium through Palace Entertainment. And so we had Valentines that we sent to Palace Entertainment in a big box and said, please let her go. I got zero response from the first letter when Palace announced their buying Miami Seaquarium. I got zero response from the Valentine. So I said, okay, we gotta just no more Mr. Nice Guy. I've been polite. And then after that was the campaign to send letters pledging boycott of all 41 plus Palace Entertainment theme parks until she is released. And then we held a protest and delivery of these letters. We had, I think it was over 4,000 letters. And Matt Sorum from Guns N' Roses, the drummer at that time, joined me in support, and we went to the steps of Palace Entertainment with a big couple boxes of these letters to deliver them. Security, they'd heard about us coming, so they had some private security guards waiting at the door. The first time, the guy let us in, me and a couple other women friends, and he opened this door. He led us to this office, and it was empty. And he goes, "Oh, you could just leave him here." I go, "There's nobody here. This is not Palace Entertainment." And then he goes, "Oh, well, elevator's broken and it's upstairs." And it's like, so the guy was like lying to me. Anyways, I said, "No, I'm not going to leave them here. I'll come back another day or something." So we came back later, and there was 2 guards, and the second guard was this big, like bouncer dude. Anyways, so that's some of the campaigning. And then later on, Christina and I worked on art letters for Lolita, and we got some beautiful messages that we sent to Mr. Eduardo Albor of the Dolphin Company. And and then all these things started coming together, like there was the alarm over Tokite having pneumonia possibly, and her respiratory illness, but then things started to really come together with Albor saying, well, okay, like that he was willing to allow independent veterinarian team to go in and visit Tokite, Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's, and then all these things started coming together, and that's why it was so disappointing, that we were so close to having her come home.
Yep.
Yeah. But so what happened with Iceland, I got there, I explained earlier that on the first night, which was the 18th of August, I'll never forget that date. And I found out about Tokite Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's suddenly passing away. It was day 4, my last day in Iceland. And after we made these deliveries of these curtains of 161 origami fin wheels, we walked out of the Parliament office in the late afternoon, and right there across the street was this eye. I've never seen a cloud like that. Has anyone ever seen a cloud like that? It was uncanny. I just
amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was like, I don't know. I'm a spiritual person. I have to admit. I thought there was really something significant to that. And I didn't know how significant until about 2 or 3 weeks later. And I think it was Raynell Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's or somebody else sharing, I think it was her though, sharing that on the 4th day after, loved ones pass, that their spirit leaves their body. And it was like, oh my gosh, that was the 4th day. It's like, yeah. Yeah.
Well, that happened.
I'm sorry, Howard?
Well, right at the time at the Seaquarium, as Toki passed, big dark clouds came in and a rainbow came across the sky. I've heard that from several people. So there was some celestial synchronicity going on there for sure.
Yeah, yeah.
And Peggy, I know exactly when that happened. I was on the 4th day. I was with Raynell in the hospital, in her hospital room, and doing ceremony for that 4th day. And so that picture, when I see that, I definitely I feel that,
Yeah, yeah. It was, oh. And I also got sick as well. I'm usually rather healthy, but the minute I got back from Iceland, I just had to, I was overwhelmed with a pretty bad cold. Couldn't really do much. It wasn't COVID, but it was just like, oh my gosh, my body just, yeah. So
thank you, Peggy, because you're part of the Toki family, and talking about, how did Toki touch you. I'm sure many felt that same thing. There's just this calling to this beautiful, majestic being, and connected for so many reasons. And when you kind of take us through all the campaigns, we've done a lot of acknowledging of folks who have done that. And I know you'll turn back around and say that we've done the same thing, but just for one moment, I just want us to put our hands up for you. Thank you, Peggy, for everything you have done for her and continue to do for all these magnificent beings in the ocean. We love you. Just really, really thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Annette, and thank you, everybody, because none of us can do this alone. We've all contributed from our hearts what we could do. And there's different skills that different people have, different abilities. And I just say that everybody can do something. Just think of what you're good at and do it. And so everyone here has done these great things. Annette, you've been the fantastic producer of TokiTV.
Who would have thought
Yay!
that?
So, and one thing I'd like to add is, as far as what touched me about Tokite was that, all those years, she just had so much grace and strength, and she kept going. And I just couldn't help but wonder. I just felt like I'd say there's something about her. And I think that it's her connection that she had with her mother, Ocean Sun, and that connection was ongoing. And how there's, with humans, sometimes we're thinking about somebody, a friend, a family member, for a few days, just really thinking about them, and all of a sudden they call. And I cannot help but believe that with the brains of an orca as they are, and what we can't even prove necessarily about them as scientists, I really feel there's this incredible connection that she had to everybody, including her mother. And so I also, of course, grieved for her mother, Ocean Sun. And in that, saying her strength and her grace, it just continues to inspire me. It will always inspire me to live in grace and strength. And that's where we all can be for her memory and for her families, the southern resident orcas. And that's, again, I applaud all of you that are involved in being a voice for the southern resident orcas. But all of you on TokiTV and everybody in the audience who's watching, we've got to do this. We've got to ensure a future for them. And they're so magnificent and resilient. They've managed somehow to find food, but it's not going to be forever that way. So yeah, let's do this. Let's get those dams breached. And we've seen, as I've seen Howard sharing before, about the Elwha and the beautiful ranch that Ken created. The salmon, the Chinook are coming back.
Right.
And the Klamath dams are starting to come down, and we can see this. We just have to be tenacious. We have to be even more tenacious than all of the forces that are in favor of keeping the dams.
That's a totally good segue there, Peggy. Talking about what's next, and what to look for in 2024. You sent me this. In Toki's honor, continuing to work for JK and L-Pod's well-being is crucial. Expanding outreach through entanglement, double disaster projects regarding the bycatch and entanglement. Maui Dolphin Day, art action, supporting passage of the SWIMS Act, and more. If you are not following Peggy's page, you guys need to do that. Lots of action items that she shares and will continue to. And Peggy, anytime there's a kickoff for a new action item, come on, and we'll kick it off here and to be able to reach more folks. And then
that would be great.
Some other things coming up. Christina, is this a good time to
Yeah, just didn't think I was gonna get all
Alejandro would tease you if he was here.
I know, right? Yeah. I just wanted to say, Peggy, you're doing an awesome job, and I also wanted to say thank you for sending me that picture that we just looked at, because it's on my refrigerator. It's a really powerful picture, and it's probably why I was getting all that. Anyways, and I just kind of wanted to just touch base on the bycatch really quick with you, because that's actually, we were talking about that right before you came on, before the show, because that's another really huge problem in Alaska, with those trawlers and the Chinook salmon, so like maybe, we can get some kind of action going on for that, because that's like huge. And apparently, they're also, there's a lot of orcas in that bycatch, and like it's really horrible. It's really horrible.
Yeah. Thank you, Christina, for reminding me of that, because there's a Facebook group. It's something like the words Alaska Trawlers is in the name of their group, and they are against the Alaska trawling fleet. And thank goodness Center for Biological Diversity has been preparing to file a lawsuit against the trawling industry there, because I believe it was 10 orcas, either 9 or 10 died as bycatch in these trawling nets in Alaska. And then one was released, but it was injured. It's not going to survive. So it was either 10 or 11 total orcas up there in that part of Alaska that died in 1 year
from the trawlers,
from bycatch entanglement. So it is a really important thing and I'm really big. I'm always on the soapbox. Watch Seaspiracy. If you're eating seafood, you've got to see Seaspiracy. If you love dolphins and whales or any kind of marine animal, learn about this industry. I definitely
watch Seaspiracy. You learn what your seafood actually, the cost of your seafood, because it's not worth it to me. That's for sure.
Yep.
Is this it, Peggy?
Yep. That's it. Thank you, Annette. So I have liked their group, and they post quite frequently about what's going on there. And yeah, and actually, while I'm in Raglan here in New Zealand, last year I hosted 2 screenings, Milked, the documentary about the dairy industry, and Eating Our Way to Extinction. Excuse me, the latter film is free online, Eating Our Way to Extinction, and they cover the bycatch entanglement. That, you know, it's one of the factors that they talk about. And then this year, well, in Raglan, I'll be hosting 2 other screenings. One will be Seaspiracy, and that one will be a free one at the local theater. And the other one, I have a little bit of a licensing fee to pay, but it's called Deep Rising, and it's a documentary about seabed mining, which is a very eminent threat to New Zealand, that I learned about over 10 years ago. So I always keep busy.
Well, there's a lot of work to do, isn't there?
Yeah, we always keep busy, don't we?
Yeah. Lots of work to do. Lots of work to do.
Speaking
Yeah.
of busy, Christina, what do you got? What do we got coming up?
Well, we got coming up a lot of things. We're starting the Dam Busters movement, right? So we're going to start just going at the local representatives as well as the Biden administration for the 137 species that are on the brink of extinction right now, because if we don't get those dams breached, that's what's going to happen. So we want to educate people on all of those 137 species, because it's not just the orcas, it's not just the tribal people, it's not just, it's a lot. This is an entire ecosystem, and we can't let it go. We can't let it waste away because of some dams, right? So we need to keep these actions going, and also education. So we're looking for any teachers that want to get involved in this movement, so we can, you know, do what Peggy's doing, write a lot of letters or do, you know, art, whatever it is, and then we can send them to the locals and President Biden, because we need to target both of those. It's really important that we do target the local government officials as well as the Biden administration. So we're going to learn each week about a few of these 137 species. And we're going to go ahead and start text blasting some of this stuff to the Biden administration. And we're going to start the whole postcard campaign again. And Deborah, you mentioned that we wanted to just acknowledge to people that, you know, that they're tired and, you know, burnt out and stuff. And we understand that. But we can't give up. We just can't give up because there's too much at stake. So we got to just, you know, we got through the holidays and we're rejuvenating, and now we got to get back up on it. So I think Alma is going to do some fun facts about 5 of the 137 species, and then she also created a really nice postcard that you can print out, and then there's a letter also that you can put on the back. And we just have to keep going with this. And we're also going to have a big event at the Capitol here in Washington. But we don't have a firm date, but it's going to be March, no later than April. And that's what we're going to do. The theme will be the 137 species that are on the brink of extinction, and it's going to be really powerful. And we also need volunteers. So anybody who's interested in volunteering with that, we're going to have more information as it comes together. We're not completely all together with that, but it will be happening, like I said, in March, no later than April. Yeah, so that's it for now.
Thank you for acknowledging, because I think, and here's what's cool. We talk about I mean, this whole channel, this whole show, this whole everything is about Toki and her legacy and all the people she's brought together. And I've said this before, since her passing, made the news, and it reached people who did not know about her, right? Prior to. So the group has grown. A lot of these groups have grown. So there's a lot of new people. And a lot of the people that have been doing this for so long, it's they're not going to stop. No one's going to stop. No one's going to give up. However, it's hard. So when we were talking earlier before the show started about supporting these movements that have been going on for so long, there are so many new people brought to this family, to this, and so I think that's all part of the plan. Again, everyone being connected for a reason. So, Brandy's on there like 100%. It's time to go full steam ahead. Like, let's do it, So thank you for acknowledging that we need to breathe new life into some of these campaigns that have gone on for so long. Because as we all know from doing this for so long and the areas that we've had our focus on, it's heartbreaking when it doesn't happen. It's heartbreaking when there's a step, but it was just a little step. It wasn't quite the step that we needed, and so having people and the teachers like Mary Ward, if you're listening, like, let's go with your Toki Warriors, from your high school. So for those who have not shared this information, share it, because you might reach one person that could reach hundreds. So share all of these action items, because you never know who it's going to reach. So thank you, Christina, and for all the work that you're doing to leading to this event, and and Toki's legacy, as Howard has said, and we've all said, education is huge. Education, promoting awareness, and Alma has done, like you mentioned, a really great job to talk about this. 130 species damned. Don't let it be to extinction breach now. Alma, should we turn this over to you?
Sure. So yeah, I just posted that. Peggy, you're so inspiring and awesome. Thank you for everything you do. It reminded me of that Baba Diem quote that I just posted up here. In the end, we will only conserve what we love. We will love only what we understand, and we'll understand only what we're taught. So you're doing exactly that, teaching people to love something that they otherwise may not know about. And that's, we're here for orcas, but there's another 136 species of, part of the critical web of life that are also, they're damned. The dams are affecting them. They need salmon to survive. So just to bring them out of obscurity, a lot of them are just not very well-known animals, or, just underappreciated. But how could you not appreciate this guy? This is the gerfalcon. He's got a 4-foot wingspan, the largest falcon in the world. The name comes from the Vikings, who held them in such high regard they were dubbed the bird of kings. They breed on the Arctic tundra and move south into the Pacific Northwest for the winter. You guys see them up there?
Yeah.
I would freak out if I saw one of these. They're so beautiful.
They're very cool.
And the next one, I'm sure you all know these guys, trumpeter swans. They're impressively large, continuing their comeback from near extinction after being hunted for the feather trade, and also overhunting of muskrats and beavers, because the swans symbiotically nest in their dens and dams. Trumpeter swans will mate for life, although rarely will switch mates over their lifetime. Some males that lost their mates will not seek out another mate again, which is super sweet. What a beautiful, regal, graceful bird. And the next one is the cute little mink. I don't know if you knew this, but minks purr just like cats when they're content. They're precocious little beings and become independent at 8 weeks old. They can be seen in a single file line following their mother and mimicking her behavior at 8 weeks of age. So cute.
That's so cute. That's so cute.
And then the last one is there's another one. The fog shrew. I know a lot of people, farmers especially, or gardeners that don't know enough about these species will think they're bad for their gardens, but they're really not. They're a solitary animal with a peaceful disposition. They actually help farmers by eating many crop-destroying pests such as spiders, slugs, centipedes, and worms. They actually don't damage plants and do little harm or no burrowing into garden beds. They live under leaf litter and grass and might travel along existing mole and vole tunnels. For these reasons, shrews are beneficial in your garden. And then we have the Douglas squirrel. I think everyone's probably more familiar with the eastern gray squirrel that's kind of like taken over a lot of the Douglas squirrel territory. Those were only introduced to the Pacific Northwest in like 1925. So the Douglas squirrel has really, suffered since then. So this little guy also is known as the chicory because of the noise they make, which is like an alarm sound for the forest to alert danger. They're native to the Pacific Northwest because their diet consists of seeds of the coniferous trees. Habitat loss and deforestation has caused a massive decline in the Douglas squirrel population. Do you guys see them a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
You see the little chicories? So you know what their little alarm sounds like?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they're cute. They're really cute.
Yeah. So for a Key Wester, if we see a squirrel up on the mainland, we're like, squirrel! We get so excited because we don't have squirrels down here.
Aw.
I picked some of the obscure ones to focus on this time, but there's so many. There's bears, otters, 41 species of birds, including the bald eagle, and of course orcas. So we have a lot of animals to cover on this list of 137.
Go ahead, Peggy.
I had I'm thinking that it's already maybe part of this campaign to reach out to schools with the 137 species. But is there also like an assignment for the kids besides the letter writing to maybe expand this even further and say, pick one of the 137 species and write a 1 or 2 page report about it?
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
I love
Okay.
that.
Glad
No,
you like the idea. I wasn't sure if you already had it in the works, but that way the teacher can also make it even more of a project, get the kids even more engaged so that they learn.
We kind of were
maybe it wouldn't
brainstorming
be
the
so-
kids. Yeah.
Sorry.
I was gonna say we were kind of brainstorming with the kids, making posters and stuff to bring to the event that they would do the different animals. It had kind of come up a little bit.
like, why not book reports, right? Learn
Why
about
not?
it, teach the other class, teach the other kids. And so fabulous. Fabulous. Any ideas you have, Peggy, share them. We'll incorporate them. We want
Okay.
this to be big. The bigger the reach, the bigger the impact. So
And also anybody else who has any ideas. I mean, we're totally open to ideas. We have a theme and we're going to go with that, and looking for people that want to help too. Even if you're not here, it's okay. You can still help. Yep.
absolutely.
So have the kids include a little story about one of the species in their letters to the legislators.
Exactly.
So you can
Yep.
educate
Yeah,
the
that's a
legislators
great
as well.
idea. Mhm.
Yeah.
That's
We
awesome.
did talk about that one for sure. We just don't have it all organized yet.
We're getting there. We're getting there. But if you want to be part of the helping organize, guys, don't wait for the just the tasks at hand to be figured out. Help us figure them out. So shoot an email, send me a messenger message, and when we meet to brainstorm, we can include you. Really want to be able to do that, and again, have more people on the show as well. So while you're, and if you feel like, well, I don't know what to say or I don't know what to do, Alma is doing a really good job of getting this information. You can come help read some of these fabulous facts about the animals. So just come be with us, come hang out with us. And there's so many people who are on all the time. So like Brandy and Maria and so many folks that we want to see your faces. Come on, come on. And there's plenty of little Joe calls them Hollywood Squares. Joe Olson. He says, "Can I be on Hollywood Squares this week?" Come join Hollywood Squares, whatever you want to call it, our dam busting squares. All gathering in Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's and for Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's legacy. We will continue to join together to make a difference for the orcas, for her family, and as we've seen for all. Speaking of people who make a difference, before we close, and I'm sorry guys, we're way over, but that's just what we do. Howard has some good news. If you didn't see, I was super excited to see it about Center for Whale Research and some impact. How are they going to make a bigger impact now, Howard?
Right. Yeah. Can you show the boat? Because it is on the way right now as we speak. In fact, there's a message
Woo!
asking, do we have an ETA? The boat was delivered about a week ago to the ranch at Port Angeles, and it was just picked up probably less than an hour ago from there and splashed into the water for the very first time and is making the 20-mile trip back to San Juan Island to Snug Harbor. And there will be photos and a whole reception committee there when it arrives. This is a dream come true for a perfectly designed research boat with a lot of front deck area for launching drones. Drones are sort of the new method, the new way of seeing orca behavior, seeing and identifying them. So it's a fantastic new tool that the Center for Whale Research will use to keep us all informed about how the southern residents and the big orcas are doing out there. So we'll be seeing a whole lot more photos of that beautiful boat. It's really a dandy.
Yay!
I'm so happy about that. Really, really excited. I do want to draw people's attention in the comments. It's side. It's not about the boat. So we'll come right back to that. But Robert has asked folks. There's a lot of petitions out there for the France 3, and so Robert put a link on Facebook. So please click it if you haven't added your name to these petitions. Robert, thank you for putting that in there because I did see your message, but I was kind of half asleep. There's petitions. Let's learn more. Let's do more to help these guys. I think there's things in the works for them, but we want to make sure that they're taken care of. So yeah, check out the petitions from One Voice, and I think there's another one that Robert will put up as well. But it's in the comments, guys. Click on it and do that. Please. And then maybe next week, Robert, we can focus on that a little bit more as well and throughout the week. Peggy?
One more thing I'd like to add. Thank you for mentioning those petitions. We have 2 on our petition page at cetaceans.org regarding the 3 orcas at Marineland Antibes, but also the SWIMS Act. It's going to come back. It's going to be proposed again. And so we have a page about the SWIMS Act, which is basically going to hurt the captivity industry, the cetacean captivity industry, if it gets passed. And it would ban the breeding, the captive breeding, and transportation, with a few important, like veterinary exceptions, of orcas, false killer whales, pilot whales, and belugas in the United States. So let's get that law passed.
Awesome.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Yeah. Great.
Yeah, and I'd like to just thank Representative Adam Schiff, Jared Huffman, Susan Delbini, and our now passed Senator Dianne Feinstein for co-authoring that bill.
Wow.
Yep.
Well, I just want to say before we go, thank you, Peggy, for all you've said. I mean, this was a really informative and fascinating time with you, and I can see you are inspired by Toki. You really have the strength and the clarity of passion that shows you were affected by her, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Toki magic.
Thank you, Holly.
Toki magic.
Mm,
Yep.
yep.
Cetaceans, cetaceans.org, you guys. Make sure you go there and also check out
Uh-oh.
What happened?
Uh-oh.
Annette, come back.
You're
I
back.
don't know. I'm here. I don't know. I think it's warning me to get off. We've been on way too long. Just please come back on, Peggy. Like, at least once a quarter. I know you're busy. You're traveling the world, making a difference, but come share it with us.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. And it's, again, thank you to everybody here, Deborah, Deb, and Stephanie and
Casey. Yep. Stephanie.
Stacey. Yeah. Stephanie and Casey and Alma and Christina, of course, and Howie and Annette. Thank you for all that you're doing. And of course, Alejandro, who couldn't be with us today, but yeah. And
We
all
love our Alejandro, don't we?
And all the great guests that you had, being involved, doing something. Yep.
Thanks, Peggy. Anything else, Howard? I'm so excited to see pictures of the boat. I'm so boat in the water, and I'm like really, really excited and happy for that for Centers for Whale Research. So
yeah, this is normally the quiet time of year, but there have already been 3 encounters, documented encounters with beautiful photographs and videos, including all of J-Pod, including J60, the new baby, but with the mystery of who's the mom. Because
I know. Tell us a little bit about that. I know we're over, but tell us just a little bit about.
Well, J60 was first seen just before Christmas in Puget Sound. J-Pod had been there for 3 days, and with a 19-year-old female J40, and so there was a question, okay, is that the mom? Could be. But then when they were seen by Center for Whale Research south of Victoria a couple of days ago, and this encounter is on the website, the baby was not with J40 at all. The baby was with J16, who is 50 years old, and so post-reproductive, not likely to be the mom at all. So that leaves a big mystery. J16 might be the grandma, but we don't know who is the mom. That's yet to be determined. So stay tuned.
All right. Well, awesome. We could just kind of hang out and talk for hours and hours, but we're sitting there like trying to prep for the show, and like we had too much information this time, so that was good. But Robert, thanks for pointing out the France 3. And let's continue to make a difference, guy. Every day, every day is just taking action every day. And we'll maybe we could share some more in-depth information about the 5 we talked about today, and we can post those. But somebody said it's not Hollywood Squares, it's Dam Busting Squares. Yes. So yes, come on the Dam Busting Square show, otherwise known as TokiTV, gathering every week in our beautiful Sk'aliCh'elh-tenaut's legacy. So thank you guys for being with us, and we'll see you all next week. Yep.
Toki, Ulysses, Corky, and the 55 plus orca that's in captivity. This song is dedicated to you. Out on the ocean swimming free, it's where I'm supposed to be. Not living my life in captivity. That kind of life is not for me. Take me home.
away from my family. You took me away from my home, where I'm supposed to roam. You took me away from my